6 seconds left. Tie game. The ball is literally sitting under the rim, waiting to be dropped in for the win. And the player who grabs it walks away from that moment with her face buried in her hands, while the woman she's been feuding with since college can't stop smiling behind her back. If you think you already know how this game ended, stick around, because what happened in the final 6 seconds is only half the story, and what got said in the press conference afterward is the part nobody saw coming. If you're new here, this is where women's basketball drama gets broken down the right way, real quotes, real stats, no fluff. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because you do not want to miss what's coming in the next few weeks with the playoff race tightening up. Now, let's get into one of the wildest finishes the WNBA has produced all season. Sunday night at State Farm Arena. The Indiana Fever and the Atlanta Dream, two teams jockeying for playoff seeding, and two of the league's most talked about young stars on the floor at the same time, Clark and Angel Reese. These two have been linked together since their college days, when Clark's Iowa teams and Reese's LSU teams turned into the most watched women's basketball games in history. That storyline never really faded once both of them turned pro, and every time these two share a court, the internet treats it like an event. This game did not disappoint. It went back and forth all night. Atlanta got hot in the third quarter, dropping 28 points to build an 8-point cushion. Indiana clawed back. By the fourth quarter, both benches were on their feet for almost every possession. And then, with the clock bleeding out in regulation, the game handed Atlanta the exact opportunity every home crowd dreams about. 6 seconds, 3 chances, 0 points. Score tied, 81-81. Atlanta has the ball and 6.6 seconds to win it outright. Ryan Howard brings it up, gets a look from the wing, and puts up a three-pointer with under 5 seconds left. It doesn't fall. But the possession isn't dead. Angel Reese has already boxed out Aliyah Boston underneath and comes down with the offensive rebound. She's got position. She's got a clean look at the front of the rim. This is, by every measure, the easiest shot she'll take all night, with a season and a playoff push riding on it. It rolls off the rim. Naz Hillman scoops up the loose ball for one more desperate attempt before the horn sounds. That one misses too. 3 separate opportunities. 1 possession. Nothing to show for it. Regulation ends exactly the way it started, tied at 81, except now it's the home team walking off the floor having let a golden chance slip through their fingers, instead of the team that's supposed to be reeling. Now watch the benches in that exact moment, because this is where you can actually feel the shift before a single word gets said to the media. Atlanta's bench goes quiet. Guys are slumped over, some turning away from the court entirely. And on the other end, Clark is jogging back like nothing happened, already talking to her teammates about overtime like it's just the next possession of the night. No panic. No frustration. Just business as usual for a team that's been here before. The moment that went viral. Here's the part that actually broke the internet. As the teams are heading toward their benches to regroup for overtime, the broadcast cameras catch Clark walking directly behind a visibly frustrated Angel Reese, and Clark can't hold back a smile. She's not celebrating, not pointing, not taunting. Just a look on her face like she genuinely cannot believe what she just watched. That clip spread everywhere within minutes. Fans clipped it, captioned it, and picked sides almost instantly. Some called it disrespectful to smile at a missed shot in a game that mattered this much. Others said Clark had earned every bit of that reaction, given everything these two have been through on a basketball court since college. Either way, it became one of the defining images of the entire night, arguably more talked about than the final score itself. Overtime was a completely different story. If Atlanta was hoping the extra 5 minutes would give them a reset, Indiana had other plans. This is where Clark took the game over. She logged a season-high 41 minutes and finished the night with 26 points and 9 assists, shooting 9 for 20 from the field. But the number that mattered most came late. With Atlanta clawing the deficit down in the extra period, Clark stepped to the free throw line with just seconds left and calmly buried both attempts to push the lead back out. Then, rather than risk being fouled again on the ensuing possession, she grabbed the defensive rebound and, instead of letting the clock tick down and inviting another foul, heaved the ball the length of the court to run out the clock. Asked about it afterward, Clark joked that she'd had that move in her back pocket for a while, saying somebody had to go chase it down or the clock would simply expire. It's the kind of decision that looks like instinct in the moment but is really just a point guard who's already done the math before the ball leaves her hands. She wasn't the only one who showed up. Kelsey Mitchell scored a tough 20 points on an inefficient shooting night, but that total mattered for a much bigger reason. It extended her streak of 20-point games to 19 in a row, a run that's now one of the most remarkable scoring streaks in league history. And then there was the name nobody expected to be talking about after this game, Mikayla Timpson, a bench piece who exploded for a career night, hitting big shots in overtime when the game was at its tightest and giving Indiana exactly the kind of unexpected scoring punch that wins playoff-caliber games. On the other side, Aliyah Gray put together a genuinely excellent individual performance, leading all scorers for Atlanta and doing everything she could to keep her team in it. Aliyah Boston, too, quietly put together one of the best all-around stat lines of the night for Indiana: points, rebounds, steals, and blocks all showing up on the same box score. This wasn't a game that Atlanta lost because nobody showed up. It's a game they lost because, when it mattered most, the offense stopped moving. What the final numbers actually say. When the buzzer sounded for the final time, Indiana walked away with a 95-91 overtime win. Angel Reese still put together a double-double, 15 points, 14 rebounds, and 6 assists, but she shot just 5 for 16 from the field, and that inefficiency, especially in the clutch, is exactly what's going to dominate the conversation. The loss dropped Atlanta to 21-13 on the season. Indiana improved to 23-12, now riding a 4-game winning streak and having won 11 of their last 14, a stretch that's quietly pushed them right into the thick of the playoff seeding race. Then the coach sat down at the podium. This is the part of the night that turned a tough loss into a real story. Atlanta head coach Karl Smesko took questions after the game, and when he was asked directly about that final possession in regulation, the one where Reese grabbed the offensive rebound and missed the potential game winner, he didn't dodge it. He explained that the play call had actually included a screen that was supposed to be set up for that exact possession, and that his players simply forgot to run it. According to Smesko, once Ryan Howard's shot went up, the instruction to Reese and Hillman was simple: crash the boards and give the team a second chance. He said they did exactly what was asked of them, and that Atlanta got 2 clean looks at the rim in the final seconds that could have won the game outright, they just didn't fall. It's a measured, professional answer on the surface. But read between the lines and it's still a head coach confirming, on the record, that his team botched the actual play design on the biggest possession of the game. That's not a "the shot just didn't fall" answer. That's a coach admitting the execution broke down before the ball ever left anyone's hands. The bigger pattern nobody's talking about enough. Strip away the viral moment and the post-game quotes, and there's a real basketball story buried in this game. Atlanta had success attacking one-on-one for most of the night, largely thanks to Gray's big scoring performance. But once Indiana adjusted defensively in the fourth quarter, Atlanta's offense noticeably bogged down, relying on isolation basketball instead of ball movement, and it showed up directly in the scoreboard, with the Dream managing very little offense over a critical stretch. Meanwhile, Indiana's offense was the exact opposite all night: Clark setting the table, Mitchell finishing in rhythm, and a bench player in Timpson getting rewarded for cutting hard and trusting the pass. 9 assists from Clark isn't just a stat, it's a story about a point guard who spent the entire fourth quarter and overtime making the players around her better, while Atlanta leaned harder and harder on 1 or 2 players trying to manufacture points on their own. That gap, one team spreading the ball around under pressure, the other tightening up and going isolation, is really what separated these two teams once the game got close. And it's exactly the kind of detail that tends to get buried under a viral clip of somebody smiling at somebody else. Where this rivalry goes from here. Clark, for her part, wasn't exactly boasting about the win afterward. She downplayed her own performance, calling it far from her best game, and said the intensity simply comes from playing against the best competition. That's what brings out the best in her. Reese, meanwhile, was open about how rough her shooting night felt, having openly admitted she struggled out of the gate early in the game. Whatever you make of the viral moment, the numbers tell their own story. A double-double for Reese overshadowed by a brutal shooting night at the worst possible time, and a near-perfect closing sequence from Clark that's going to keep showing up in every MVP conversation for the rest of this season. Add this performance to the pile of evidence, because putting up 26-9 while closing out a road overtime win against a legitimate playoff team is exactly the kind of game that MVP cases are built on. So here's the real question. Was this just one rough shooting night that's getting blown way out of proportion because of a single camera angle, or is this the start of a real pattern for Atlanta heading into the playoffs? Drop your take in the comments, I read every single one. And if you want to be here for the next chapter of this rivalry, because you know there's going to be one, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, because this storyline is not going away anytime soon. See you in the next one.